Problem number 16. One leg of a right triangle is twice as long as the other. So I have a right triangle where this side, x, is twice as long as this side.
Not right.
Not my problem. I'm recording. Be quiet. So now it says, what is the hypotenuse as a function of the length of the shorter leg? Well, think of it like this. This is A, and this is B, and this is C, which is the hypotenuse. So if I say A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, I get x squared plus 2x squared is equal to c squared. This becomes x squared plus 4x squared is equal to c squared, or 5x squared is equal to c squared.
You square root it, so it's
So when I square root both sides, I technically get, I get 5x squared equals c, but when I square root both sides, I get c is equal to the square root of 5. Now what's the square root of x squared?
x.
X. So generally, you could write that in the front or you can write it in the back, it doesn't matter, but this is the square root, or x times root 5. X times the square root of 5.
And that's your answer.
That's the answer. Problem number 16.
Okay.
Boom, from the homework, 1.7. Homework, any questions?
Nope.
Going once? Going twice?
So, oh wait, I have another question for homework. That's what.
Oh yeah, we'll get to it. The next question is, what's your question? This is S, so what would this be?
2s.
2S, and then this would be 2S. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So now, we've got to figure out what H is. So now we've got to do the same thing that we did before. To find the height of this thing, the height is going to be equal to the square root of 2S squared minus 1/2 of this square. Okay? Does that make sense? Because what I'm really doing is I'm really finding like H by doing applying the Pythagorean theorem to this. And the distance from here to here is just 1/2 S. Now because we've relabeled everything. So now I got a height that's equal to the square root of 4s squared minus, oh, this whole thing has to be in parentheses, 1/4 s squared. So 1/4 minus 1/4, what's 4 minus 1/4? 3 3/4? So what's that as a fraction? So 3 1/4 is a mixed number. What is that as an improper fraction? 15 over 4. Does that look right to you guys? Now we could simplify this a little bit.
Yep. 2 or square root of 15 over 2.
It's the square root of 15 over 2 times s. All right, cool. So now, if I say the area of this whole triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height, then I would say that this is equal to 1/2 times, what's the base now? S. What's the height?
Square root of 15 over 2 times s.
Square root of 15 over 2 times s. Hey, guess what that is when I write it all out?
It's the same thing.
It's the square root of 15 over 4 s squared, which is the answer that they had in the back of the book. What? Now, was the first problem correct or the second problem correct? The answer is yes. They were both correct. It's just the way that Mr. Adams labeled it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So
you just use proportions to make the triangle like.
yeah, so what Mr. Adams did here is I set it up differently. I let this be just s and let this be 1/2 that. Now, mathematically, whatever I plug in for s, like for example, if I were to do this problem and I let s equal 6, then over here this total length would have been 3, and then this would have been some variation of 6, and then over here, if this was equal to 6, then my s would have been 3, and then so this would have been 3. So the mathematically, when we plug those values in, we would have gotten the same answer. But the function's a little different based on how we set it up. Okay, that's a good question. So I don't know, maybe you guys did the same thing Mr. Adams did.
32.
Yeah, I'm just going to go in order. So the next one is 19. We'll get them all done today, though. So number 19 says, so this is from 1.7, number 19. Number 19 says, a sphere is contained in a cube tangent to all 6 faces. Find the surface area of the cube as a function of the radius of the sphere. So here's a sphere, and then there's a perfect cube. It kind of looks like that. And if I were to draw it in 3D, it kind of looked like that. Here's the radius. Well, if the radius is from the center of the sphere to the other sphere, and so what they want is the surface area of the cube as a function of the radius. Or maybe we could write it like this, the surface area of the radius. Okay? well, a cube has 6 faces, right? So the surface area of a cube is really equal to 6 times the area of the square. Does that make sense? So a cube has 6 sides or 6 faces, right? And if we were to unpack this, if we were to unfold this, the net for this would be this cube, this square, this square, this square, and then another one that goes on the top. But now the sphere fits in between. So from here to here is R and R. From here to here is R and R. Okay? And it's got to be 6 times. So how do I calculate the area of one of those 6 squares?
Times base by 24.
Well, the length is 2R
That's what you do.
and 2R. So the area of a square is,
6 times 2r squared.
yeah.
6 times 2r squared.
Well, you guys are getting ahead of me. Answer the question I'm asking you. The area of the square is
2r cubed.
2R squared.
Excuse me.
Because it's the length times width.
It's
It's
okay.
the area of the square. Oh, not the cube.
Yep.
Okay.
So now this is going to be 6 times 2R squared.
24 squared.
So this is 6 times 4R squared, or 24R squared. So if I know the radius of the sphere, then I can calculate the surface area of the cube. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions on that one? Look at my fancy teacher book and make sure I have the right answer. Oh, I do. That's always encouraging. So now the next problem, 22, is going to be, I'll read it out loud. When a number is added to its double and its triple, the sum is 714. So what's the number? Do you guys know?
714.
No, what's the number?
Oh, x plus 2x plus 3x.
No, one of them is 119, isn't it?
Well, listen to me carefully. You guys are just blurting out the answers, but I'm trying to explain the process. What is the number? Do we know yet?
Yes.
No, we don't know, so we call it x. So x plus its double. How do I get double x?
2x.
2x. Plus its triple. How do I get triple its number?
3x.
3x. When I add all those together, it equals
714.
714. All right, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. X is equal to 114, or 714. Divide both sides by 6. And let me point this out. Our first number is x, right? That's the number we're looking for, right? So now what's 714 divided by 6?
119.
119. Now how can I verify that? What's 119 plus 2 times 119 plus 3 times 119? Do it on your calculator. Tell me what you get.
714.
357. So our last one.
When you add them all together, what do you get?
714.
714.
Okay, so then it works.
Oh.
What's the answer to the question?
Oh, 119.
119. What is the number? It's this.
Okay.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
instead of doing 1x plus 2x plus 3x, could you also have done x plus x squared plus
No.
3x?
Because it's not triple. That's like times.
That's weird.
I misunderstood the
No, I
question.
said
All right, what was the other one that the other one you had?
32.
32? Oh man, that looks like a hard one. Let's not do it. Let's skip it.
It is a hard one.
32, here we go. 32 says, fixing solutions. Oh, I hate solutions. The chemistry lab at the University of Hardwoods keeps 2 acid solutions on hand.
I just stopped.
One solution is 20% or 0.2. Do we know what the solution is? No. So do we know what the quantity is? No. So it's 0.2 times a certain quantity x, right?
Yep.
The other is 0.3, but that's a different 0.35, and that's a different type of solution. Do we know how much that is?
No, it's a lot.
So we call that y. All right, you guys are doing good so far. How much 20% acid and how much 35% acid to prepare a total of 25 liters of 26% acid? So hold on, I'm gonna help you guys. Nothing up my sleeve. At the end, we want a total of 25 liters, right, of 0.26 solution. All right. So we have 2 unknowns, and when I add this stuff up together, I'm supposed to get 0.26 times 25. 0.3. Okay, now let's think this through.
It's 2 variables. You have 2 variables.
Is it equal to y plugged in the graph?
Well, I know for a fact that x plus y has to equal 25, right?
Oh, you
Then you do like
No,
the
wait,
because that has to equal 0.26xy, right?
Yeah,
like
and I
the
think
way we're going.
it has to be 0.26.
But it asks for 26% acid solution. So that's a combination of the 2.
Yeah, but I think over here, we're going to try it. I think this should be 0.26 times the quantity x plus y, right? That should work out that way, right? Yeah, what's up?
Is your recycling right there?
Yeah, it's right there. Is that right? So let's see, how do we do that? Well, what is x plus y?
25?
25, right? So we're going to say 0.26 of 25. So I don't know, let's try it out and see. Yeah, I'm recording. Yeah. What's wrong with recording it? You guys don't like to think out loud? All right.
I don't even say it.
So now, what do you guys think we need to do next?
Take
You need to
0.26
plug,
times
25. No, you need to plug the x plus y equals 25 into either x or y.
Yeah, so I could say x is equal to 25 minus y.
So then you plug it
So I
in
say 0.20 times 25 minus y plus 0.35 y is equal to what's 0.26? Huh?
6.5.
6.5? All right, so far so good.
And you got to multiply out to 0.20.
Yeah, so what's 0.20 times 25?
5.
Minus 0.2y plus 3.35y is equal to 6.5. So now I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, right? So over here I'm going to get 1.5. Now what's 0.2? Negative 0.2 from this is what? Negative, it's positive 0.15y, right? So if I divide by 0.15, divide by 0.15, what does that make it?
10.
Is it 10?
That's my guess.
Somewhere around there.
Well, do it on the calculator and verify.
That's good.
What was that?
It's 10.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to find out in a second. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
So then what would x be?
15.
15.
I'm confused. No, because we're solving things that you just have on. So when we do the 22 times 25 minus 1. Because, okay, so what is y equal? If you solve for x of y, then you get 25 minus y. 25 minus y equals x.
Because the equation
Oh.
to x is y equals
You
25.
understand?
Then you put in there.
Wait, 1.5 divided by 0.15 is 0.10.
Huh?
That's not.
1.5 divided by
Oh, wait,
0.5.
never mind, forget anything.
You're not gonna
Hey, that looks pretty good to me. Ironically, that's the only problem in my book that doesn't have the answer.
Wow. Right down.
That's cheap.
But we know that 10 plus 15 does equal 25. And think about that. You would need to get 26. You would kind of need fairly similar amounts of x and y.
Guess it's what it is.
You probably need more of x because it's closer to 0.26 than it is to 0.35. I think it's about right. I think it's right. Let's move on to the next one. What's the next one?
40.
Oh,
We're just kind of winging it now. What, 40?
you do 28 after 40.
Who assigns all these homework problems?
You do.
You gotta come back on that. All right, so Jackie invests 25,000. That's her principal. So this is problem number 40, right? Principal, EL, AL.
Yeah, it's
That's already. We got it.
Did I say EL? So she invests, Jackie invests 25,000. Part at, we'll call this part A, at 5.5% or 0.055. That's a rate. And then she does the rest at part B of that at 8.3% or 0.8 or 0.083. And we're told that it is compounded annual interest, so it's just a straight one time at the end of the year interest. She receives a payment of, so her interest payment is $1,571 approximately. And then we got to figure out what did she do for part A, part B. So how much money did she invest in part A? Do we know?
No.
No. So we're going to say that this is equal to X. Then she took whatever was left over. What do you want to call this?
Why?
Why?
We could call it Y, or we actually know what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's let me see if I can help you guys out. Isn't it 25,000 minus X?
Oh yeah.
What? Mind blown. All right, so then, how do I get the interest? Well, I believe if I take the principal and I multiply it by this, in other words, if I say 0.055 times whatever amount she chooses, plus 0.083 times this amount, which we don't know what it is, but we know that's 25,000 minus X, it should equal 1571, yeah? Does that seem right to you guys?
Yeah, looks like the equation.
So push this through, tell me what you get. I'll do the first one. You should get, for the first one, 0.083 X. Well, I'll do the second one. You guys do the 0.83 times 25,000. I'll do this one. So what's 25,000 times 0.083?
2075.
2,075 minus this stuff. Well, let's get rid of the constants. Subtract 2,075 from both sides. I don't know if I like that.
That's making
I got
negative 500.
You have a negative.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have a negative on this side. So what do we have here, John? Negative what?
504. 504. 327.
Now, this has got an X. So combine like terms. What do we got there?
It should be a negative something. Negative 3.032. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't know. Did you plug it in the calculator to make sure it's right?
Nope.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, that was not
Point 028. Uh-oh.
What did I do?
You add one instead of like, or you subtract the wrong one.
It's negative 2, right? All right, here we go.
X.
x is equal to, are we sure this one's right?
Doesn't matter.
Pretty positive.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it is. Negative 504. So we're going to divide both sides by 0.028x. Oh, it's 2.8, not 0.3. Is that right so far?
Yep.
What do we get? X is equal to?
18,000.
It's not.
That still moves.
Now, what would be the other part? So it's this at 5.5%, and then 7,000.
You do actually that minus seven.
Wham! At,
2,075 minus X. So minus 18.
is that right? Because we started off with 25,000 looking at my fancy teacher book, and the answer is 7,000 and, Pretty mad.
Oh, man.
that is correct. If that scared you, put on these, and your eyes will be protected. I'll wear them then, if you're too cool.
No, wait, why don't my eyes be protected?
Because they're safety goggles.
Yeah, what, was that 38?
That was 40.
This is being
Is there any other ones you guys need help with?
28.
28. And I feel like I've done hands.
Did you do it?
9% is the answer. Thanks, man.
It's 40.
Oh, that was kind of slick. Problem number 28 says job offers. Ruth is weighing two jobs in sales, competing companies. Job 1. They offer a base, you guys listen carefully, a base of 25,000, right?
Yep.
Plus 5% gross sales. So that must be some sort of sales job. And then the other job, job 2, they're offering 20,000. 20,000 plus what percentage of gross sales, which is 7%. And then the question says, how much money do you guys need to sell in order for Ruth to take the second job over the first? So, we can do this on a calculator, which isn't that hard, but we don't really need a calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph this to kind of give you guys an idea. So really, there's two functions. We've got job 1, y, or let me do the same colors. We've got two functions. We've got y is equal to 25,000 plus 0.05 times gross sales, which is x, right? And then the second job, y equals 20,000 plus 0.07 times x. Now, one of them has a steeper incline if we think in terms of y equals mx plus b, right? So if I were to do like a sketch of the graph, we're going to have this one would be at 25k, and it'd be a very slow increase. Now over here, we'd start at 20k, but the increase would be a little steeper. And so what we're looking for, the intersection, right? Because after the intersection, job 2 pays more. So what we're really looking for is what x value does this occur at? Now, by the way, this is an interesting thing here. If I were to graph this, and you could graph it all day long, but I want to show you how to do it algebraically. At some x value, what do we know about the y values of both functions? They'll be the same. So could I do something like this? Could I say, oh, well, we see that y is the same here, right? Hey, if this equals y and this equals y, then what do we know about those two? They equal each other. So I could say 25 plus 0.05, is that what it was? Is equal to 20 plus 0.07. Oh, don't forget the x's, right?
Wait, until you at 1 point.
Yeah, just this point. Do we know what y is? No. Do we need to know what y is? No.
Okay, I see.
All right, so subtract 20 from both sides, and you get 5,000 plus 0.05 x is equal to 0.07 x. Subtract 0.05, and you get 5,000 is equal to 0.02 x. Divide both sides by 0.02, and what do you get? Is it 10 or 100?
250,000.
No, it's 100,000, isn't it?
250,000.
1.2 would be 1.
It's
That'd be 100,000.
Yeah,
Just 250,000.
250,000. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think maybe just 0.2 would be no.
No, we're not multiplying, we're dividing. So you're going to get 5 of these to get 1, right? You got to multiply this by 5. You got to multiply this by 50 to get 1, and then that goes into a 50,000. So that makes sense. 250,000. Boom. So job 2 pays more if and only if you have
That's 2 halves.
Yeah, it's on his back. Spelled it.
Oh, you're saying he spelled if wrong. Actually, no, that's symbolic language for the phrase if and only if.